Hello everyone, my name is Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. Today I'm going to talk about all the books I want to read in the month of February. Stay tuned. Okay everyone, firstly I sent out an announcement video just shortly before this video about a live stream show that I want to start on Sundays starting from the 11th of February, and yeah, please check out that video. That could be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to that, and one of the reasons I'm looking forward to that is because of the live stream I was involved in last night, and hell, it was just so much fun. It was just really enjoyed it. It's such a thrill, so much energy, so much so different to talking in front of the camera. I just love it. It's almost kind of the highlight of my booktube life, being live with someone and just feeding off each other's energy. That was very cool. Okay, and that takes us to the first book that I'm going to read in the month of February, and that is Stephen King, End of Watch. Now, this is the third book in the Bill Hodges series, and yeah, last night we talked about the second book, Finders Keepers, and as I said, it was such a ride. There were 5 of us, and I'm going to link all of them below that are part of the All About Holly group, and also Bad, who I really hope she's feeling better. And she was basically sick in bed while we were doing the video. But yeah, I hope you're feeling a lot better, Bad. I'm thinking about you. But yeah, that's End of Watch. Now that is part 3 in the Bill Hodges series. We are reading everything to do with Holly, the character Holly from Stephen King, before we finally get to the novel. And so that's about 6 novels. So I'm having a lot of fun with that readathon, and yeah, that's an absolute blast. Low stress as well. So yeah, that's End of Watch. Okay, and speaking of Bad, we are going to be doing a buddy read next month. We did one for the first part in the series, The Black Farm, which is an extreme horror novel. It's very dark, it's very extreme. There's torture, there's graphic violence, so it's not for everyone, trigger warnings. It's an extreme horror novel, but we both really loved it because of the world building. Absolutely excellent story, and now we are returning to that crazy place, the Black Farm. In the sequel, Return to the Black Farm, and so I'm going to be doing a buddy read with Bad, which is awesome. So that's happening in February. Okay, so you can see, people, that I'm going through the books that I kind of having buddy reads, I'm having group reads, and I'm dipping my toes in a few readathons, although I'm not taking part. And this is all because, and I made a video about it, I'm trying to read, although I want to support people, I want to support my friends, you also have to read sometimes for yourself, otherwise you kind of get frustrated. And I really felt kind of down last year sometimes because there were just too many readathons. And I wanted to please everyone, and you can't please everyone. And you're on booktube, you've got to read what you want to read sometimes. So I'm trying to make my readathons and everything else fit into my own reading. And if that means I read one book as a kind of nod towards a particular readathon, then that's what's going to happen. So okay, anyway, the third book is for the GarbAugust Wasted Weekend 2. Hosted by Criminology, and I absolutely loved GarbAugust last year. I had a lot of fun, and that's also because I could read a lot of horror. And for this particular weekend, it's the last weekend of February I believe, I'm going to be reading Sean Hudson, Death Day. Now, this is an author that I'm going to be talking about quite shortly. Another British horror author. I've got a whole series out there. So yeah, this definitely kind of kind of counts as a trashy read for the last weekend. And it's a little bit about beware the golden disc. It brings decay, destruction, death. 300 years ago, a woman died in agony to keep it secret and went to her grave with it hung around her neck. Now, in a desolate graveyard, a workman has unearthed the amulet by chance and decides to keep it. His first mistake. Okay, I'm not going to read the rest, but yeah, this is definitely a trashy vintage horror novel, and it's my third read for the month of February. Okay, next up I'm going to read Ray Bradbury Fahrenheit 451. This is going to be a reread for me, and I'm doing this because it's a banned book, and I did not think I had any banned books in my collection, and I'm doing this because MJ from Reading His Life is doing a banned book here where you read a challenge to read 24 in 24. I don't think I'm going to get to that because I don't own that many. Actually, this is the first one I've discovered, but I think after May, June I might start purchasing a few more banned books just to get into the flow with that. I think it's very important to talk about banned books and just to have a discussion about them. And so yeah, I'm starting off that adventure with Ray Bradbury, Fahrenheit 451. Okay, next up I've been dying to take part in Michael K. Vaughan's Discord with Roger's Cheap Old Book Club. I've been dying to take part in that old book club, and I decided to give it a go this month because apparently these books are free. All the books in his book club, Cheap Old Book Club, I don't have to pay for. So therefore it doesn't count towards my challenge. And the first book that I want to read in February is Of One Blood by Pauline Hopkins. Now I have to make it clear that I actually looked on my Kindle and it does cost money, so I'm not going to buy it unless I cheat, unless I get permission to cheat. But otherwise I might try and download it. I have no idea what it's about. It's apparently a classic horror series, very classic. But I'm determined to join Roger's old book club, horror book club. So yeah, and that's from Michael K. Vaughan, which I'll link down below as well. Okay, and the final readathon that I'm not actually joining his readathon. I wanted to read a Palet Cleanser for this month. That's not Ed McBain, which is a crime mystery. And this is my Palet Cleanser for the month, which is to dip into Sherlock Holmes. I once read, when I was a teenager, I read The Hound of the Baskervilles. I think I enjoyed it very much. So I'm going to read some Sherlock Holmes this month. It was Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads who suggested that I start with A Study in Scarlet. And I'm going to do that this month. And I know that there's a readathon going on, and it's called Holmes, because this is Sherlock Holmes. Holmes is where the heart is. And so yeah, I'm just sticking my toe gently into the Sherlock Holmes stream. Does that make sense at all? I'm just dipping my toes into this genre, into the mystery genre, to see what it's about. But it will be a nice little cleanser between all the horrible stuff that I read in between. So yeah, that is A Study in Scarlet by Sherlock Holmes. Okay, next up we're going to just talk about all my horror choices for the rest of the month. First of all, In the Scrape by James Newman. Now this is about two boys that want to escape their abusive father. He's an absolute bastard, and they come up with ways to escape. They tie him to a chair and they run away, but of course things don't work out so easily for them, and bad things happen. I think the other characters that start having an effect. So I don't know much about this book, but it's got very good reviews on Goodreads, and I love the cover with that deer. So yeah, we're going to read In the Scrape this month. Okay, next up we're going to read a book by an author that is fast becoming one of my favorite authors. 2 5-stars in a row, and that is Chad Lutzke, and this is Stirring the Sheets. Now I just want to read what it says on Goodreads. An elderly funeral home worker, struggling with the loss of his wife, finds an unnatural attraction to a corpse at work. resembling his late bride in her younger years. I mean, if you look at the cover, you can see it's going to go to dark places. But the fact that it mentions that it's a story of desperation, loneliness, and letting go, it's kind of poignant. Yeah, it seems like it's going to be kind of sad and poignant. I don't think anyone can write like this guy. I highly recommend you pick him up, and that is Chad Lutzke. So yeah, that is Stirring the Sheets by Chad Lutzke. Okay, next up we have a book that I've been putting off for a while, and that is The Bottoms by Joe R. Lansdale. And you know, the Joe R. Lansdale that I know is horror, very dark humour, yeah, very nasty stuff. Some of it I really love, but apparently this is his most critically acclaimed book, and it's a kind of coming of age story about an old man who looks back on his childhood, set in Texas during the Depression era, and it's about this serial killer who murders and mutilates his woman, and then all the kind of rubbish that follows and the racial tensions that follows, and it really explores the darker side of humanity. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a difficult read, but a little bit more interesting, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So that is going to be The Bottoms by Joe Lansdale. Okay, next up I'm going to be reading Shattered by Dean Koontz. Now this is a nice short book, which is good for my challenge, and I think it's one of his older ones, correct me if I'm wrong. And let me just read the back quickly. It says, it started as a kid's game to while away the long drive across country. It ended in a welter of violence. We're being followed. They're travelling 3,000 miles to a golden city and a golden girl. She's Colin's adored sister, Alex's ravishing new wife, but she could cost them their life. Someone's out to get them, to destroy their dreams of the future, but to plunge them into a paranoid nightmare of death and destruction. Now, for some strange reason, this book reminds me of a Richard Matheson book, Duel. Maybe I'm completely wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. It's also about some psycho following this couple or this person on the highway, won't let go. So yeah, let me know if I'm wrong about that. But that is Shattered by Dean Koontz. Okay everyone, I'm really not sure about the next book or books, and I really need your help because I want to read another Graham Masterton, and I don't know which one to choose between the two, so you need to let me know in the comments down below. Should I be reading Graham Masterton Walkers, which is basically about these psychos that get caught in a wall in an old psychiatric hospital, or should I read Family Portrait, which is about a dangerous, well, family portrait, serial killers or whatever. Oh, you got to check out this cover. Okay, so, oh, that is so good. But anyway, you need to let me know if you read either of these books, which one I should read for this month, and put it down in the comments down below. Okay, the next horror novella that I'm going to be reading is You've Lost a Lot of Blood by Eric LaRocca. You can see that cover. It looks intensely disturbing, bloody, graphic, and yeah, I'm not sure what to make of it, but it's nice and short, so I'm going to give it a go. And it says on Goodreads, just 2 sentences. Each precious thing I show you in this book is a holy relic from the night we both perished, the night when I combed you from my hair and watered the moon with your blood. You've lost a lot of blood. Okay, that's really all that I've got to say about that particular novella, but it's actually got mixed reviews, but I'm going to give it a go. It's nice and short. So that's You've Lost a Lot of Blood. And the 13th book is Saku, Saulina from Philip Fracassi. And yeah, I've heard a lot about this on booktube, and it's about a group of brothers, so it's 2 brothers and a messed up father, and they hire fishing charter boats, and they go out in the depths of the sea, and then something goes wrong. I think it's a mutant mutant species rises from the depths of the ocean and threatens them, and they've got to find some way of getting out of the problem. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Maybe just like kind of a monster book, but we'll see. I've heard good things about the author of some of his other books, but this is the one I own, so I'm going to be reading Saku, and I love that cover as well. Okay everyone, and I also wanted to read some short stories this month, so I've chosen Ramsey Campbell's Scared Stiff because I recently did a video on Ramsey Campbell, and yeah, this just appeals to me. Tales of Sex and Death, with the introduction by GarbAugust, who's very much into sex and death. So yeah, this looks fun. Once again, it's nice and short, so I'm going to dip into these short stories by Ramsey Campbell. Okay everyone, and finally, if I've got some time between all my reading, I decided to read a couple of graphic novels again as well, and I have read these, so it's a reread, but I love this one, and this is The Dark Tower, the Gunslinger. Very awesome. All part of the Dark Tower series, with Roland, the Little Sisters of Illyria, and it's a short story as well in one of his short story collections. I can't remember which one. Maybe Everything's Eventual. Tell me if I'm right. And then we got GarbAugust's Age of Desire, one of his books of blood, and this book is truly messed up. Man with a heart on, and yeah, strange aphrodisiac drug that I'm not going to go into it now. I might go into it in my wrap up. You might enjoy that. But yeah, looking forward to maybe looking at these again, but we'll see if I've got time. Okay everyone, so that's a lot of books for the month of February, and you know what, if my mood takes me, hey, I might just pick something else up. I'm getting into that stage of my booktube thing that if I feel like reading another book, and I really want to read another book, I'm going to read it, because life's too short, and we're in this to enjoy ourselves. And yeah, that's one of the reasons I made that long video going on and on about readathons and all these things with prompts and everything. You've got to read what you enjoy, otherwise it becomes tough in the long run. So yeah, so let me know if you read any of those books, what you think. Leave comments down in the dark spaces down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, keep those pages turning, and cheers.